Montreal is Canada's second biggest city, but sometimes in English Canada, we don't follow it because of the language barrier and the cultural differences. Well, luckily, Rebel News hired Alexa Lavoie as our Quebec bureau chief a few years ago, and boy, has it opened up a whole new world for us. And I realized that Quebec is the front line in so many battles for freedom. And so it was a couple of months ago when an American pastor named Sean Foicht, I think I'm pronouncing that right, I better be careful, he came to Montreal as part of his nationwide tour, and his specialty is outdoor singing accompanied preaching. Well, he was banned from so many public parks. It really was outrageous censorship, religious censorship too, but he was offered a refuge in a church. The church said, you can come and pray with us. He did. Antifa swarmed outside the church. I'm so glad, in a rare move of backbone, the police in Montreal, called the SPVM, kept the Antifa out while Sean Foicht had his service with him, except for one member of Antifa walked in. He wasn't wearing the black bloc. He wasn't wearing a mask. He walked in like any stranger might, sat down, and then you can see it on this security footage. He reached into his pocket and pulled out two incendiary devices, two smoke bombs, and casually, as if he had done it a dozen times before, threw the smoke bombs on the stage. Who knows what could have happened from the smoke itself, or if there was some sort of fire that was lit, and then he calmly walked out. And I can understand why police didn't catch him as he walked out calmly, because police did not know what had happened inside. We saw what happened and we called for a reward. We said, find the thug. We offered increasing amounts of money. No one came forward. I think possibly because of a language barrier, but in the end, we actually managed to identify him. And that's where the story gets even stranger. Joining me now is our Quebec bureau chief, Alexa Lavoie, who has taken that story from that terrible day when they tried to smoke bomb a church. Well, let's have Alexa bring us up to date. Alexa, great to see you. Thank you for being such a courageous reporter.
Thank you very much.
So we found the person who threw the smoke bombs. We're not 100% sure because he won't confess to it, but boy, it sure looks like him on the security footage. Tell me about the man who we believe is the Antifa smoke bomb thrower.
So I got a couple people reaching out to me and they all mentioned the same name.
So we did get a tip.
Yes. So we got the tip via multiple. I would not divulge how I got the
Okay, well, if whoever was first, we have to pay them the bounty. So let me know who that is, because we did offer a cash reward. So if someone did tip us off, let's pay that.
But they had all the same name, the same place where it was working. And so I say, let's go and check in the internet what I can find under this name. And what I was able to see, it's multiple picture of him that was almost similar of the man in the church, that we had like videos of him exiting inside of the church as well, because the church had security cameras. And so I spoke with my sources. They told me that it was not working since the event. And so I waited patiently that he's back at work, and he came back not last week, but the week before.
And what's his name?
Gabriel Lepage.
And he works in IT at the military base in Montreal?
He worked as engineer of, I know he's working with computer. I don't know the specific work he's doing, but I'm pretty sure he's working with sensitive data since he has a security clearance quote.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. So for doing his job, I know that he needs that or he's going to lose his job.
Wow. I mean, when you think about it, IT is a major battleground between countries. It's espionage, it's hacking, and for someone to have IT clearance on it, for someone to have access at all to military base, you need a certain level of clearance. To have IT access, because you would have access to secrets, you would perhaps have access to emails from key people. You would perhaps have access to plans. Canada is part of something called the Five Eyes, which is the United States, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, sort of like the super duper close friends of NATO. It's not the expanded NATO. So we have to be on our best guard. Tell me what happened when you finally met him in the street. In fact, let's do better than that. Let me show people when you bumped into him with a picture. You had all your facts ready to go. Here, watch for a couple of minutes. This is a very exciting video. We won't play the whole thing for you now, but take a look.
J'ai quelques questions pour vous, M. Lepage. Est-ce que vous pouvez me confirmer si c'est vous sur cette image-ci, M. Lepage? Avez-vous des liens avec les Antifa?
C'est ce que je ressemble à quelqu'un, puis que il y a ça être une enquête citoyenne, là, quelque chose de même, mais...
Ah ouais, décolle! Décolle! Décolle!
Hey, c'est quoi ton problème? Vous pouvez me dire si c'est vous qui avez lancé 2 bombes fumigènes dans l'église Ministerios Restauration en juillet dernier? Est-ce que vous admettez avoir lancé 2 bombes fumigènes dans l'église Ministerios Restauration, Monsieur Gabriel Lepage? Pourquoi vous êtes parti en maladie pendant un certain temps après que ça s'est passé? Quel type de données que vous manipulez à la Défense nationale, Monsieur Gabriel Lepage?
Well, he obviously, I think he was expecting you, because I think his behavior was, he wasn't, he may have been slightly surprised, but I don't think he was stunned or anything. I think he knew you were coming for him. He must have known we had a bounty out for his name. And the fact that he was away from work for a couple months, you got some inside info about that. Why was he away from the base for a couple months? I think I have my theories, but what did you hear from the inside?
So according to my source, he was met with supervisor, and probably he was asked about the videos that apparently he denied, according to my source. And then he took off for almost 2 months from the job. I don't know if it's because he wanted the dust to settle and that people forget about the story and that afterwards everybody go to something else. But it seems like obviously he didn't want to be with maybe colleague or, people are talking. And apparently, according to my source, on the department, Lepage colleagues were aware of the church incident. So,
well, I mean, it was quite an incident. The only crazy thing was that the police didn't treat it with importance. We did. We did our own sort of Crime Stoppers. In English Canada, we call it Crime Stoppers. They offer a reward for information. Even now, the police have not named him. Even now, as far as we know, the police have not arrested him. I don't know if they've investigated him. It's almost like he's being protected because he certainly, as far as we know, has not been fired or even suspended from his job, even though I think it's a sensitive job.
And according to my source, after my interaction with Gabriel Lepage, the employee were met with the supervisor. Apparently, the supervisor were really, really mad. And they say, do not leak any information to media.
So they were mad, not at Gabriel Lepage, but at someone who might have been tipping you off.
Exactly. And what they actually say is there is a journalist harassing an employee.
Well, so he throws smoke bombs. That's not harassing, but asking questions is harassing. That's crazy.
Relations médicales.
Oui, bonjour. J'ai appelé tout à l'heure. J'ai laissé un message pour avoir des nouvelles dans le dossier de l'Église qui a reçu 2 bombes fumigènes le 25 juillet dernier.
OK.
Je voulais juste savoir s'il y avait...
Moi, je travaillais pas, là, mais...
Je voulais juste savoir s'il y avait du nouveau dans le dossier.
Oui, hier, j'ai entendu parler que c'était toujours sous enquête, qu'il n'y a pas de nouveau dans le dossier pour le moment.
Est-ce que vous avez identifié un suspect? Est-ce que vous avez arrêté quelqu'un?
Malheureusement, s'il y avait eu arrestation, ce serait du nouveau dans le dossier. Puis oui, on l'aurait communiqué, mais là, pour l'instant, moi, j'ai rien qui m'a été signalé en lien avec ça. Là, je me souviens, hier, il y a eu une de nos chargées de communication qui a justement parlé du dossier. Et j'étais présent. Fait que c'est ce qui m'a mis au fait de ce dossier-là. Mais non, c'est l'enquête suit toujours son cours dans le dossier. Puis bien évidemment, vous comprendrez que nous, même si on avait quelqu'un en vue ou quoi que ce soit, ou si on ne l'a pas, c'est pas des choses qu'on divulgue au fur et à mesure, là, parce qu'on veut justement pas donner de heads-up aux gens si on a des targets en tête ou des gens rencontrés. Mais pour l'instant, c'est vraiment statu quo, c'est l'enquête qui se poursuit.
Donc, aucune arrestation?
Pas pour l'instant.
Bon. Ben, merci beaucoup, c'est gentil.
Merci, au revoir.
Au revoir.
There was something when you were walking with him on the street and you were asking him questions and he wasn't answering, but he was on his phone. He called the police And he made another phone call because I've never seen this before. This was crazy. The police are slow to respond, I think. But there was another violent force that was very quick to respond. Someone dressed from head to toe in what they call black bloc. That's a style. That's so you're anonymous, so there's nothing about you that's identifying. Someone dressed in the full black bloc uniform on a bicycle came out of nowhere and attacked you after this Gabriel Lepage had been working his phone. Let's show that. That was absolutely shocking. And the fact that it looks like Gabriel Lepage managed to summon this Antifa street thug, almost like a hit job on you, was shocking. Let's take a look at that.
Décalif! Décalif! Ah ouais, décalif! Décalif!
Hey!
Décalif!
Hey, c'est quoi ton problème?
Décalif!
Est-ce que c'est ton ami? Est-ce que c'est ça?
Décalif!
Vous êtes un Antifa, monsieur? Wow! Did you saw that? I just got attacked by what it seems like Antifa thug that are protecting Gabriel Lepage, who is working for the National Defense. Can you believe that this is Canada 2025 under Mark Carney, that this kind of people can work for the National Defense? He actually kind of broke my camera, but...
So you started asking him questions. He made some phone calls, and out comes this person attacking you. Did you? Was there anything? I didn't catch it because I think it was in French. What did he shout at you, or what did you shout at him? That bicycle person before they sped away.
So, but there is two incidents of some people wearing like a full black bloc style who came to us. The first one came and he asked me to, sorry, but get the out. Yeah. I don't want to say it.
So get the F out.
Yeah, get the F out.
Let's go, on décalisse. Tu décalisses. Tu décalisses. Go, tu décalisses.
Il y a un homme violent qui vient d'arriver, qui vient de nous menacer, là.
OK, Jam, viens-t'en.
Envoie la police, OK?
Moi, appelez la police parce qu'il y a un homme violent ici.
Appeler un Uber à la place.
Non, non, j'ai dit tu décalisses.
Vous savez de qui que vous avez avec vous? Un homme qui a présumément lancé 2 bombes fumigènes à l'intérieur d'une église, monsieur? Ah, monsieur? Est-ce que vous savez c'est qui que vous êtes en train de protéger? Est-ce que vous êtes un Antifa, monsieur? Est-ce que vous faites partie des Antifa? And he said, Chum is buddy, come. And Gabriel Lepage went with him. And
you can call someone your chum even if he's not, but it certainly looks like they knew each other or were allies.
Yeah, and then they were able to walk a little bit further, and then at that moment I decided, okay, the SPVM is not coming, the Montreal police is not coming. I'm not going to wait for the SPVM to find me with like harassment, as they say in the phone call. And I say, okay.
Well, that was the crazy thing. You call the police and they say, oh yeah, you stop harassing him. They criticize you.
Yeah, exactly.
The police.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So I was like, I'm not going to wait because we know that the SPVM doesn't like us and they will find something against me. So I decided to live with Guillaume.
That's our cameraman?
Yeah, my cameraman. Thanks God he was there with me. And a few moments after, 2 other masked thugs came. And the man, because it was a woman and a man, went straight to me violently and he attacked me.
Wow. And did he say anything in that attack?
Get the F out.
Décalif! 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 Ah ouais, décalif! Décalif!
Hey!
Tu décalif!
Hey, c'est quoi ton problème?
Tu décalif!
Est-ce que c'est ton ami? Est-ce que c'est ça?
Tu décalif!
Vous êtes un Antifa, monsieur?
So not one, but 3 people came at you. I guess I have to rewatch the video.
One, that was a woman with green hair in her car who came and she called the 2 other masked men to come towards her after attacking me. And I filmed with Guillaume and then I turned back and everybody was gone.
Wow. You know what? Montreal is famous for different kinds of crime. It's famous for Hells Angels crime. It's famous for mafia. The mafia was quite strong here, almost as strong as New York. And now Montreal, unfortunately, because it's such a beautiful city, Montreal, unfortunately, is now famous for Antifa crime. And I want you to be careful. And when we can plan ahead, we have security for you. And I think we should make sure of that, because these people really are violent, and you have exposed them. Now, here's the craziest part. You did your due diligence. If you watch the video that you show all your homework, you show your efforts, you made inquiries, you sent emails. You did an excellent job of researching it. And to me, the surveillance footage, it's obviously him, but you still are using the word alleged because we don't have it 100% proven. But what's incredible to me is the response by the police and by the military base. It would be, in the case of the Hells Angels or the Mafia, as if they had an inside man, as if the police were refusing to arrest someone who was like a godfather. This guy, as far as we know, has not been arrested, has not been interrogated. He's still, walking around with his security clearance. And it looks like neither the police nor the military police have done anything. As far as you know, to this moment, have police even arrested and interrogated this guy?
No, I called the police yesterday. The police say there is no new development in this investigation. They say that if they found someone, they can't really divulge it. And
there's some truth to that, but they can say, okay, we can't say who, but we are, like they can, if it's tough to give them the benefit of the doubt because so far they've done nothing. It is true if they were investigating someone, they wouldn't violate their privacy until they were making charges. But I think they're covering up for him.
And I spoke with Joe Warmington because
he's from the Toronto Sun.
Yes, he's running a story at this moment. So he asked me a couple of questions. And this morning I went also to Soga.
What's that?
The Mississauga.
Oh, Saga 960, the radio station. Okay, so is that Mark Petroni you were talking? So Mark Petroni and Joe Warmington, those are two good shoe leather reporters in Toronto, but that's the thing. They're in Toronto. How about here in Quebec?
Yeah, I went also on a couple of radio stations. I really find that strange that no big media actually took back my story and maybe amplified it.
Or even looked at, maybe they don't want to follow Rebel News because they don't like Rebel News. I'm talking about La Presse, Le Devoir, Journal de Montréal, and even the Montreal Gazette. But they should put aside their rivalry with you. You're just one reporter. You're for them to be scared of you, they shouldn't. They should look at the public interest in this story, regardless of the fact that you broke it. You've had no contact, or even you don't even need contact because they can watch your video and do their own work. As far as you can see, no other media in Quebec, let's talk about the radio shows, but none of the newspapers I've just listed, certainly not the CBC, Radio Canada.
None of them did. And
it's because they like Antifa, maybe.
But is it because they are scared and they always use the easy way to cover their story? If you see, are they covering the public prayer? No, because it's dangerous.
You mean the public prayers, the Muslim prayers outside the Catholic Basilica?
Yeah, and they never actually cover where there is a danger for them to cover. And this is what we are doing. We are putting ourselves in danger for covering the other side of the story because nobody is doing it. Those people, those thugs of Antifa, never, ever, ever face consequences for doing vandalism, attacking people, or doing all kind of criminal act. And nobody is reporting on them.
The craziest part, let me add one more layer of crazy. Antifa has recently been declared a terrorist organization in the United States. I was mentioning the Five Eyes Security Alliance. How can a Canadian military base have someone with security clearance who sure looks to me like he's involved with Antifa, and it sounds like he can summon Antifa troops very quickly? How can that continue when our allies are calling that would be like a Hamas person? It is an illegal terrorist group in the United States. You would think that alone would make it an interesting news story. for someone in Montreal. Now, you did a couple of radio shows this morning here in Quebec. Tell me about those, because that will make me feel better that actually it's not a complete blackout on the story. Monsieur Dutrisac, I know the name, but I don't know him well. He's been around for a very long time. He's sort of famous, and he had you on the show, right?
He has me on the show because he's the first one to be, I think he's the first critic against Valérie Plante, the mayor. He is always exposing what is happening in this city. It's getting, a shithole. The city is dirty. It's not safe anymore. We have a lot of radicals. The police is not doing the job that they are being paid for doing it. Protests in our street every weekend. The police is not doing anything regarding that. There is hate speech, there is vandalism, there is attack, there is harassment. Police is not doing anything. And this is the reality of Montreal. And thanks God, Dutrisac is one of the voice in the mainstream.
He works for Québécois, is that right?
Yes.
That's the biggest media company in Quebec.
Yes, it is. But, Cube Radio is like a really small part of Québécois. It's a little bit more conservative leaning, same if they are not.
But still, they let you in the door. And you had another radio show today too?
Yes, I have. So I went to Patron this morning, and I'm going to Radio X in Quebec.
Oh, those guys, for a very long time, they've been a little bit freedom-oriented. They were skeptics of the lockdown. They're free speech activists, and they've been friendly to Rebel News.
Yes, they always been, and they are giving us a platform to show our work. And I think it's important because there is so few media outlets, actually there is us, who are doing on-the-ground reporting and who are showing the other side of the story, what the mainstream media try to hide under the carpet.
Now, I want other media to cover this because I think it's in the public interest. But as the boss of Rebel News, part of me, it's not the bigger part, but there is part of me that says, oh, if they don't want to cover it, the story is ours. We own the story. And I mean, I want everyone to talk about this because our country needs to fix this problem. Montreal needs to take ownership of the problem. But it's okay if we are alone because with the internet, you can get hundreds of thousands of views, even if you're a small company. And your work covering when these pro-Hamas protesters had their prayer right outside the big Catholic basilica, some of your videos were getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. And like you say, other media didn't cover it, maybe because they're afraid of being called racist, afraid of being called Islamophobic, afraid of violence, perhaps. So they didn't cover it. You did, hundreds of thousands of views, and it became such an issue that the premier himself said he was going to do something about it. It was your work. It was covered in a tiny bit by others. So in a way, I don't care if the others cover it, because we're going to be there and we'll do the job and we'll grow because people will realize that if they want, our motto, telling the other side of the story, we'll tell the other side of the story. I just wish for Montreal's sake that all these, if you were on a Québécois show, Québécois owns the Journal de Montréal, which has a pretty good investigative unit. And they should go after Antifa. Maybe they're afraid in some way. So let me ask you, what's next in the story? Don't give away any secrets or anything, but it seems to me that there's a lot more to be asked. What do politicians think? What does the military think? What is the U.S. Embassy? Maybe because Sean Feucht, he was an American citizen. So an American citizen was attacked by Antifa, and it looks like the perpetrator was working in a Canadian military base.
And by the way, not only all these shows were canceled by the federal. And now we have a federal institution where someone is working for them who went to throw 2 smoke bombs inside of the church. And now it seems like nobody seems to want to arrest him or charge him with anything. We need to ask ourselves, what happened there?
You're onto something. I've got a crazy possibility. What if the decision to ban Sean Feucht was informed in part by the Canadian military? And what if Gabrielle Lepage was the one who said ban him? I don't know. I'm purely speculating. But sometimes governments ban people because they have police warning or terrorism warning. What if the warning came from Antifa? What if Antifa used its position within the government? Now, I'm just pure speculating here, but that's because we don't have any transparency from the government. And I think that the police and the military police and the Department of Defense, they have some explaining to do.
And I'm coming back on what I was saying about Joe Warmington. It did some speculation, but he say, what if during this whole time, it's been a week, are they cleaning the computer?
Right.
Are they
He is an IT guy. He would be maybe, what do they call it? Bit bleach or bleach bit. That's what Hillary Clinton did for her files. Maybe they've been using the time to cover their tracks.
But because if it was, and I'm saying, if it wasn't Musk, do you think that the person who would have done that will not be everywhere in the front page of all media?
Right. This is a very interesting story. One of several big stories you've had recently. I think you're doing great. I want to make sure that when you go out and about, you and Guillaume, that you have at least 2, maybe 4 bodyguards. And that might sound excessive, but let's do that for the next little while, because I don't want people dressed in black head to toe coming on bikes or hitting you. And Antifa has no compunction about hitting a woman. In fact, they would prefer to do it because they don't care about, they don't have any honor. They're about violence. We have a mutual friend named Andy No, a reporter from Portland, Oregon. They tried to kill him. They actually tried to kill him. I know that sounds shocking. And you are their chief critic and investigator. So I want you to stay safe. We've already talked about strengthening your own security in your life. So please err on the side of caution. There's no story worth hurting yourself over, but I love your courage and your bravery, and same with Guillaume. What's the website for people who want to chip in to support you, protect you, and keep your journalism?
Yeah, if you want to help us to make sure that our home is safe, and I'm safe with my cameraman Guillaume Roy, that is doing an incredible job on the ground, please go and chip in at standwithalexa.com. Thank you in advance for giving what you can be just a couple of bucks. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the details, but making sure that these guys are safe at home. We've done this for some of our other reporters before. Drea Humphrey out west, when that monster Jonathan Yaniv threatened her family, we helped her with some security. Again, I'm not going to get into the details because we don't want the bad guys to hear it. And with Avi Yamini down in Australia too, where they were threatening his family. That's just terrible. I believe that the journalism we do at Rebel News is courageous, and I measure that by the fact that our reporters are doing things that other companies' reporters are not. I don't know the real reason why all the newspapers in Montreal, plus the CBC, are ignoring this story. I don't know. I can't think of any good reason. They don't want to follow Rebel News' lead. They don't have to. They can just go with what's in the public now. I think that they're afraid of Antifa, or maybe someone in their company is afraid, or maybe they've been told to turn a blind eye. I don't know. I find none of those answers satisfying. Standwithalexa.com. Thanks for your support. And boy, she's on a roll with so many important stories. And Guillaume Roy, who has the tough job often of walking backwards at high speed. That's a very difficult job, by the way. Being a cameraman's hard enough. And he, of course, is an editor as well and does other things. We call him a videographer. Well, listen, Montreal's a beautiful city, and there's so much in its favor, but it has some deep problems too. Who would have thunk that a conservative-oriented news website from Toronto and Western Canada would care so much about Montreal? But I mean, it's a lovely city, and it's got some of the same problems we have in Toronto and Calgary. And Alexa Lavoie is shining a light of scrutiny. And, you know, they say sunlight is the best disinfectant, and we are going to shine a light on the problems here, and hopefully that'll help fix it. Well, that's it from my brief trip to Montreal. From us here at Rebel News to you at home, good night, and keep fighting for freedom. Merci, mon ami.
Thank you very much.